Where did they go? I feel like that's a really valid question in 2023. WWE did a lot of great things by building up new factions and new teams, and they've generated a ton of interest with the Judgment Day and obviously the Bloodline. But I kind of get confused, right? For a minute, WWE was doing these backstage segments, and it looked like the Hurt Business was coming back. Now, on my main channel, I remember talking about the reports that came out that WWE dropped the idea. We don't really see too much of Shelton Benjamin or Cedric Alexander on television. And then when we do see them on TV, they lose. They get squashed. That's a whole different conversation. Because you got to have people on your roster that inevitably will lose. But at the same time, too, I kind of get confused because the Hurt Business was cool, man. It was a great faction at a time where the world was just, everything was shut down. Couldn't go to WWE events. You couldn't go watch wrestling. And then when WWE had the Hurt Business originally, they seemed like a very credible threat. And at that time, there really wasn't this big focus on factions in WWE, which is crazy because if you fast forward to now, there's a lot of groups on WWE television. A lot of wrestlers who are affiliated with each other on television. So the Hurt Business gets teased and teased and teased. But then they decide not to do anything with them. Now, here's the reality. The bloodline is falling. We know that. We're watching it unfold every week. And it's a great storyline. But when I look at SmackDown, and obviously I love the LWO and I think they're great too, who's the heel group that will be the primary heel faction on SmackDown once the bloodline story is over? And I guess that's the reality, is that they don't have anybody currently in that position. I imagine first and foremost that Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley is an amazing feud waiting to happen. And perhaps that's the feud that needs to happen for Bobby Lashley to just lose and for him to finally make that call to MVP and get the boys back together. If they don't do that, if they don't do that, I think it's going to be one of those scenarios where they're making a big mistake. And in the meantime, by having Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander lose on TV, they're doing more disservice to the potential success of the group if it does eventually come back. But I look at Roman, I think he needs a really good challenger. Bobby Lashley could be that guy. I think he should lose. Obviously, I don't think he should beat Roman. But I feel like that right there should be the moment where Bobby Lashley, he makes the call. And if he makes the call, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, you could even have Omos in there alongside MVP. I just feel like there's a lot of money in that. There's a lot of money in that. Especially if WWE does de-unify the tag team championship belts. Because you're going to need a solid tag team division on SmackDown, a solid tag team division on Raw. Why not have these guys do it? There's a lot of potential with this. I don't know. I guess I'm disappointed. Maybe I don't have a reason to be disappointed. Maybe Maybe you guys don't see what I see, but I just see a lot of potential with this group, especially with how hot WWE's product is right now, how much their storytelling has improved. And because it's improved so much, and there's a big focus on factions and faction warfare, I think there's a lot of potential in that they could be taken advantage of. And if anything, these guys could be at the top of the card. Perspective is everything. And if they choose to bring back the Hurt Business, it is not helpful whatsoever to have Shelton and Cedric stay away from TV. And if they put them on TV, they shouldn't be getting squashed at all. But I want to throw something else out there, because NXT is doing some cool stuff too. Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo are on NXT. Maybe the same could be done with Shelton and Cedric in the meantime, if they have no plans for the Hurt Business. But if they have plans for the Hurt Business, there is no momentum either. They went from teasing it, and it was very well received. Those backstage Easter eggs ultimately led to nothing. And I'm all about momentum. I'm all about momentum. So if they choose not to, don't do it later on unless you've built it up. Because now it's like a cold streak of them no longer teasing it. People forgot. But the question is, what happened to the Hurt Business? And it looks like WWE gave up. And I don't like that. I definitely don't like that. And I think if I was watching the Hurt Business in 2023 with all of this great storytelling that's happening, I feel like a lot of people would see what I'm able to see, which is big storylines that don't even necessarily have to involve the championships. And that's cool. It's nice to have stories and big stories that don't involve constantly chasing the title, especially when we know it's just so obvious that Roman is not dropping the belt anytime soon. But that's the reality. That's the reality. I like this. I like this group. I like these guys. I think they're all very, very talented. I feel like they all deserve a little bit better. And it's not me dissing WWE, but to me, it just seems like they went from potentially giving us something great to just changing their mind. And whoever made that call, don't know why.